Hi, this is Fernando Herboso with Maxus Realty Group, and today I'm going to be discussing about a rent with option to buy program. This is the perfect step to take when someone does not have enough credit or enough money to purchase a home today. Let me explain to you what exactly is a rent with option to buy. Okay, now we're going to be talking about what exactly is a rent with option to buy. So imagine this, that you find a home, any home that you like, and and you want to make a contract with a rent with option to buy. So on one side you're going to have the house, and the other side you're going to have the contract. Okay, so what this entitles you to do is to purchase this home in 2 years. This is an example because a rent with option to buy could be also 3 years or 4 years, sometimes even more or sometimes less. But for this example, we're talking about 2 years, okay? So a contract with a rent with option to buy is basically as simple as that you are going to be buying this property 2 years later. Meanwhile, you're going to be renting the property for these 2 years. Okay, so before the contract ends at the end of 2 years, you're going to be renting this property, and while you're renting, this is the time when you're going to be repairing your credit or saving money. Okay, that's the reason why you're taking these 2 years to do a rent with option to buy. One of the drawbacks of doing a rent with option to buy, and I want to make sure that you understand and be fully prepared, because I know that there is a lot of people that are using the rent with option to buy and also calling it, for example, a lease option. Some people call it a lease purchase. There's a big difference between those two, okay? Because the reason why the rent with option to buy is beneficial to you as the buyer is because you have the option after the 2 years to purchase the property. You can walk away and there's no repercussions from you. They're supposed to return your deposit and everything should go back to zero. But when you're doing a lease purchase, which is basically the same thing, the only difference is that at the end of 2 years, you have to purchase the property regardless of whether you want it or not. And if you don't purchase the property, you are going to lose your deposit. So make sure that when you sign a contract for a rent option to buy, the word option is clearly stated in the contract, and making sure that there is nothing to do that's going to obligate you to purchase this property. One of the reasons why a lease option or a rent with option to buy is beneficial to you is because you're taking the time to fix your credit, you're taking the time to save some money, but at the same time, while you're waiting for this period to go through, the house value may have dropped down. And then if you're obligated to buy this house, let's say in a rent with option to buy for $200,000, and then after 2 years you find out this house is only worth $190,000, there is no reason for you to purchase this house, and you can elect to say, I don't want to purchase. The big difference will be that if you have a contract for $200,000, and then 2 years later you find out that this house is worth $220,000, that's a good thing for you, because you did a great contract, because you have the option to buy this property and you already have a $20,000 equity on this house, and the seller is obligated to sell it to you because you are exercising the option to purchase. And another big problem that I see that many people commit this mistake when it comes down to a lease option or rent with option to buy is to have the illusion that you're going to be purchasing this property 2 years later and finding out that it's not going to be a good thing for you, and therefore you end up losing a lot of money throughout the process. Let me explain to you exactly how you can lose a lot of money doing a rent with option to buy with the wrong contract. Okay, one of the biggest problems that I see, and a lot of people commit mistakes during a rent with option to buy, is how much to pay each month. This is very important for you because obviously you have to take in consideration that this may cost you more money than what you're intending to pay for the house. And the best example I can give you this in order for you to avoid making this mistake is that let me draw a house here, okay, and let me draw another house here, and let's pretend these two houses are equally the same. They're twins, okay? There's no difference between them two. And normally, let's say that this house is going to be for rent for $2,000 per month, okay? This is rent only. And this is rent with option. And because it is a rent with option to buy, this house is going to be $2,200 per month. So the big difference is going to be that you're going to be paying a total of $200 a month for the next 24 months. So that means that you are going to be paying $4,800 more for this house at the end of the 2 months, at the end of the 2 years, the 2 years lease. So imagine this. If you make a decision to purchase this house, because when you're doing the contract, the seller may tell you that you need to buy this house for $250,000 2 years later. But you know this house may only cost $230,000. So you're putting yourself at a disadvantage, because if you're making a rent with option to buy contract to buy a house that is worth $250,000, when knowing that the house may not be worth $230,000 2 years later, that means that when it comes down to 2 years, you're going to say, my option will be not to buy it because it's way too much. You know, obviously you already have kind of like an idea if the house is overpriced. So that means that you are signing a contract like you're just renting a property, because knowing that you are not going to be purchasing this home for a higher price and you're going to elect not to purchase the property, you're going to spend a total of $4,800 more on the time on the next 2 years, paying extra money every single month for a house that you know you may not be able to buy it. At the same time, the seller is telling you that you are going to be the owner of this house, so anything that happens on the property, you are going to be doing all the repairs and you're going to be paying for that as well. So if you're doing a rent with option to buy, and the rent with option to buy is for a higher price, you prefer to just rent the property, fix your credit, save money, and purchase any house 2 years later. But if you know that the price of the house is perfect for you and you know the price is good, that is a key indicator for you to say, yeah, this may make sense. I can invest maybe another $4,800 and then I will be able to make the purchase 2 years later. So now that is really what you need to look forward. If you are ready knowing that the property value is too high, no reason to sign a rent with option to buy, because you're going to end up not buying the property and you're going to be overpaying for a rental for the last 2 years. And that is not a good way to save money. And now we're going to be talking about how much are you paying every month for the option to buy the property, and how much money the seller is going to return back to you 2 years later when you purchase the property. Of course, this is not everything about the rent with option to buy. You know, there is several things that you must take in consideration Things like who's supposed to be maintaining the property, what's going to happen if something happens to the plumbing in the middle of the night. Are you going to call the owner, or the owner going to say you're buying the property and you fix it? So these are very important terms and conditions on a rent with option to buy. For that reason, why you should consider hiring somebody, a professional that knows how to do this, that is going to be representing you specifically as the buyer, not as the seller or not with the seller, but you specifically as the buyer, because that person is going to be taking care of your best interest during the contract, to making sure that they're going to advise you. Maybe you should just rent this property, because this is not going to be a good buy for you 2 years later, because this is not benefiting you, it's benefiting most to the seller. So understanding that when you're negotiating between a rent with option to buy with a seller, the seller already knows that you don't have good credit. The seller already knows that you don't have much money. And for that reason, the seller thinks that they have the upper hand on you, and they're negotiating with you in a contract that may not benefit you at the end. For that reason, it's better just go ahead and rent for the property, and then 2 years later, purchase any property that's out there. So whenever you're ready and want to consider doing a rent with option to buy in Maryland, give us a call. This is one of the steps to purchase properties that we offer at Maxus Realty Group. And if we know that you're a good match for this program, we definitely can help you. My name is Fernando Herboso with Maxus Realty Group. Please give us a call whenever you're ready. 301-246-0001. Thank you.